On behalf of Seasons Hospice staff, volunteers, and our board of directors, I welcome you to this year's Memories of the Heart celebration. My name is Christina Wright Peterson, and I serve as the executive director at Seasons. The last year has proven to be the year of change for our organization. We have several new staff and volunteers, myself included, who have joined our team and have dedicated themselves to our mission, adding quality of life to each day. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your own journey this year as we remember those who have died. I am honored to introduce you to someone who is not new to Seasons, but is serving in a new capacity as the leader of our Center for Grief, Education, and Support, Amanda Schumacher.
Thank you, Christina. I have been with Seasons Hospice since 2017 and have had the opportunity and honor of walking alongside our patients and their loved ones as they navigate hospice care. This year, I am honored to be serving in a new capacity as the leader of the Center for Grief, Education, and Support. We are thankful to have the opportunity to come together to pay tribute to those who have died in the past year. Remember, our grief is unique because the relationships we hold with our loved ones are also unique. Please remember to be kind and gentle with yourself as you continue through the seasons of grief, and know we are here for you for support through this journey. I would like to turn our attention to the candles and complete a reading titled The Light of Peace. We light this candle to acknowledge that peace can be ours despite pain and loss. We light this candle to represent the light of peace. As we light this candle, we pray for peace in the midst of this holiday season, especially when we feel frustrated or resentful that those around us may not understand our grief. As we light this candle, we give ourselves permission to seek rest and quiet reflection, allowing our wounded hearts to experience the pain of our loss. As we light this candle, we open our hearts and spirits to receive the peace that surpasses all understanding.
Together. in a distant world. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a ship far from its mooring, but a wind of the sea. Like a sea drop by a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. 'Cause I knew you. 'Cause I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for
It truly has been our joy and our privilege to have served you all in this way. And I think we as a team can all say what Aaron just said, because we knew them. We are changed for the good. And so we hear their names. Norma Arsfeld, Marlene Adamson, Leone Adrian, Mary Alberts, Dean Alden, Janine Alker, John Alker, Wesley Allen, Lauren Anderson, Olive Anderson,
Ronald Anderson, Irma Arndt, Genevieve Bonneman, Catherine Bailey, Roxy Baines, Robert Ball, Ardeen Balk. James Bendixson. John Bankston. Peter Berg.
Lois Bestland. Alan Black. Sharon Blyfus. Wayne Boyson. Constance Banea. Bruce Borg. Evelyn Bosine. Nancy Botel. Betty Boyson. Nancy Brandrup.
Joyce Brotherton. Joyce Butcher. Jean Buck. Dorothy Bundy. Ronald Burns. Carol Burton. Thomas Burton. Robert Biro. James Carlson. Everett Carr.
Levon Christie. Rose Conlon. John Connolly. Ray Cooks. Dorothy Cooper. John Kramer. Gail Crandall. Joanne Kernett. Lucille Couturier, Sharon DeCathanow,
David Deming, Arthur DeWitts, Rebecca Diskerud, Meng Do, Paul Douglas, Richard Dwyer, Jerome Daiba, Leroy Eastman, Irvin Eilert, Daniel Ellingson,
James Eng. Barbara Erickson. Patricia Erickson. Llewellyn Erlinson. James Erridge. Dolores Fearing. Richard Fector. Margaret Fegan. Marceline Fensky. Jean Furden.
Leland Furden, Retha Finger, Susan Fink, Richard Finley, Beverly Finseth, Linda Fisher, Cheryl Fitch, Wilma Fitzgerald, Constance Fix, Alvin Floden,
Mary Fossen, John Franklin, Loretta Friedrich, Adeline Frey, Iris Freed, Stephen Fries, Dolores Fritcher, Brady Thomas Fox, Stephen Fuller, Rick Funk,
Albert Gallant,
Mary Galuska,
Thomas Guard, Gary Gibson,
Mary Dell Gilreath,
Elaine Giddis, Carol Grand, Ardith Grant, Erwin Greenwald, Mary Catherine Greger,
Dorothy Gresseth. Sharon Gullickson. Corrine Hamry. Beverly Hanson. Linda Hanson. Bonnie Hanson. Jay Harris. Idell Hesley. Clarence Hess. Cleo Hess.
Donald Hasty, David Hawkins, Charles Hazama, Phyllis Helgamo, Beverly Helmbrecht, Ronald Helms, Joanne Hemmer, Simon Hensman, Dennis Herman, Jean Herman,
Kenneth Herman, Beverly Hexum, Kathy Hayden, Robert Hill, Gary Hoffman, Lois Holmes, Janine Hansi, Becky Hoseth, Helen Hotop, Dale Holsheiser,
Norma Isaacson,
Catherine Jackson,
Keith Jacobson,
Billy Jaharis,
Elizabeth Betty Jamsma, Mark Jarrett, Jean Jenkins, James Jensen, Marlene Jensen, Shirley Jertson,
Gary Jesse, May Jessup, Donald Jewell, Dallas Johnson, Dwayne Johnson, Lowell Johnson, Richard Jones, Esther Kelly, Patricia Kennedy, Carla Kenny,
Wilbert Kern, Mary Kester, Marion King, Dolores Klein, Dwayne Klein, Luella Kohler, Erica Kohlmeyer, Heidi Kraus, John Chris, Mary Lou Chris. This concludes the first half of the reading of the names.
I'd like to do a reading from the Gates of Prayer Reform Judaism Prayer Book. This is a responsive reading, and I'd like to invite you to participate if desired. After every line, we will recite the words, "We remember them." In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of the buds and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, in the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
like sailors in a night, being guided by the light, just a beacon on the shore, giving hope and strength and more, walking through this sea of light. I sense unity in mind. Oh, the power of passion is flames. Every memory has a face. There's a name of the ones who still are here. There's a name of those gone we still hold dear. There's a name, each one shining in the flame, and we know every candle has a name. There are loved ones we have known. Some are here and some are gone. In this time and in our own way, as the footsteps melt away, we see love in every flame, like the never-ending chain, and we know that every candle has a name of the ones who still are here. There's a name of those gone still hold dear. There's a name, each one shining in the flame, and we know every candle has a name. And we know every candle has a name.
We continue to remember them. Raymond Krolak, John Crudwig, Eldora Kruger, Jacqueline Crumpleman, Jenny Crumpleman, Richard Crumpleman, Donna Cruz, Milton Kubel, Nancy Kubel, Lyle Kuhlman,
Janet Lanning, Scott Larson,
Q. Lee.
Cordelia Lewis, Mary Lindquist, Jermaine Little, Myrna Little, Gertrude Lecker, Mary Luce, Judith Malcolm,
Lucretia Mallory. Dorothy Malloy. Joan Marcatante. Karen Margada. Gail Martin. Gerald Merrim. Levon Massey. Fabian Vince McConnell. Claire McConville. Evelyn McCready.
Carolyn McKay. Mary McLagan. Harold Mellum. Wade Messerschmidt. Carol Meyer. Les Miller. Ronald Miller. Patricia Miner. Barbara Moan. Dorothy Moan.
Adeline Moldy. James Moran. Lon Morse. Marjorie Murray. Mary Nash. Gertrude Nelson. Dennis Nerud. David Nesberg. Lois Newman. Omar Newman.
Larry Niemeyer. Mildred Nolte. Eleanor Nygaard. Gail Oley. Bradley Olson. Richard Orchard. Levon Osborne. Laura Osterwick. Alice Patzer. Charles Paulson.
Denise Padelti. Martin Peterman. Floyd Peterson. Richard Peterson. Beverly Polakowski. Daryl Postier. Brenda Price. Jim Potacek. Helen Radamecki. Averill Peggy Raver.
Wayne Reich. Irvin Reinecke. Annetta Reimersma. Marilyn Ruperta. Rosemary Rittenhouse. Joseph Martin Marty Robertson Jr. William Rodens. Arlene Rohde. Victor Ronkin. Edward Rosenau.
Sue Rothschild. Jerry Rushing. Amanda Russenau. Jack Ryan. Maynard Sally. Helen Sanborn. Ronald Sandin. Gary Sanders. Joey Sandvik. Lyle Sass.
Bob Shady. Brian Schaefer. Jerome Schleip. William Schneider.
Everett Schusler. Mary Schulbrock. Robert Shop.
Daryl Schultz. Lorraine Schultz. Marianne Schultz.
Hans Schultz. David Schumacher. Jay Schweihart. Mary Shanks, David Schulman, Eileen Sibley, Jim Sibley, Raymond Sibley, Scott Sonny Sickink, Daryl Sinclair,
William Sindler, Jeff Sloan, Gail Snyder, Patricia Snyder, Mao Sock, Donald Sotobeer, Shirley Splinter, Marjorie St. Martin, Eleanor Staplekamp, Tom Steichen,
Alphonse Steinis, Ruth Steinis, Mary Lou Stewart, Alan Story, Enid Schersley, Kathy Swanson, Stanley Swenson, Leona Sword, John Tazell, Charles Taylor,
John Taylor, Joanne Tho, Elizabeth Thompson, Ronald Thompson, Diet Tibbin, Phyllis Tolikan, Joseph Tolman, Dennis Tooley, Ellen Turner, Robert Tuttle,
Robert Twite, Jerry Volfer, Stella Van Grievenhof, Gerald Vielhaber, Deborah Vital, Christine Vogelsang, Wallace Vogan, Sally Volner, William Vreeman, Norman Waggy,
Gerald Warner, Harold Watkins, Samuel Watson, Louise Wetterland, Angela Wadley, Janet Williams, Lynn Williams, Bruce Winger, David Winslow, Elmore Winslow,
Richard Witzke, Robert Wood, Joel Wara, and Ronald Yanish. We have the privilege of remembering them today. I don't know if you know this, but every week as we meet as a team, we remember persons who've passed on from a year ago and also in the last 2 weeks. In the center of our gathering, we also have a candle. And as was sung, we remember that every candle has a name. It's a joy and a privilege to care for each one of these persons. And as we do together, we pause and hold them in our hearts in a moment of silence. And as we so often do, we say, we lift them into divine care.
Thank you for participating in the celebration of those we have lost in the past year. I hope the readings and music you heard today were able to bring you comfort and peace as you continue to navigate your grief journey. This concludes our Seasons Hospice Memories of the Heart Memorial Service. I would like to thank Christ United Methodist Church for allowing us to use this space and it provided a peaceful, comforting atmosphere to remember those who have died in the past year. On behalf of Seasons Hospice staff, volunteers, and our board of directors, I would also like to express a heartfelt thank you to our community for allowing us to honor your loved ones through our Memories of the Heart Memorial Service.